Hi everyone, I'm Anna. I use she, her pronouns.
Hi everyone, I'm Grayson.
And today we are at Point Blue's Palomarin Field Station, located in Bolinas, California, at the southern tip of the Point Reyes National Seashore. And we have a bird with us that we are going to process and go over bird banding and talk about fall migration. And if you guys want to leave a comment about what bird it might be, that would be fun.
Okay.
Cristobal has entered the line.
Okay. All right. Making sure to carefully take the bird out of the bag. Okay. Here it is. Cute little bird. Okay. All right. So I'm going to check real fast.
So,
What's the first thing that we do with these?
So the first things we do with these kind of birds are they're very similar to another kind of bird that we catch here often. So we will check the primary feathers and see this bird has 10 primary feathers. So we check to see if P6 is longer than P9, which 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. It is. And then we also check to see the tail color as compared to the other type of bird that looks very similar. And am I allowed to say like what kind of bird it is?
So this is a hermit thrush. It's one of our wintering birds that migrated here from the north.
Right. So now that I know it's a hermit thrush, I can band it. So hermit thrushes either take a size 1 or 1B.
And so Grayson is going to use a special tool called a leg gauge to measure the bird's leg right now to see what size they take, so it's not too tight or too large. It doesn't hurt the bird at all.
Who makes the band?
And our bands are made by the USGS lab. They're made out of aluminum.
Yeah.
Are there any other birds that have that band number?
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
So we're going to be giving this bird a 1B band, and every single bird that gets one of these aluminum bands, it's a special number that is only given to that bird. It's kind of like a social security number. So that way, if and when we catch this bird again, we're able to determine that it's this specific bird, and it's able to give us more individualistic data.
And so that number is going to stay with that specific bird for the rest of its life. And so right now, Grayson is taking banding pliers, and she's going to band the bird.
Okay, I'll put it in the 1B. Okay, and we always band on the right leg here. Okay. Make sure I'm looking at it as it closes to ensure that the bird is safe. Okay,
Great.
and there it goes.
So now
Going
the bird
great.
is banded. Do you want to give me the last 3 of that?
I can just read you the whole band number.
Sure.
Okay, so 2831 82844.
4, that's in sequence. Perfect. So now that we have the band number down, we're going to take other data on these birds. Most importantly, we try to age and sex the birds that we have in the hand, which is certain data that you can't always get just by like bird watching around. So we like to take advantage of having the birds in the hand.
Right now I'm checking for buffy wingtips, because if this bird was younger, it would have buffy wingtips, and that'd be a good way for us to age it. But I'm looking and I don't see any. Now that doesn't necessarily mean it's not a young bird, so just to double check, I'm going to skull it. Anna, do you want to explain what sculling is?
Yeah, so birds have 2 layers of skull that will grow from the back of the head forward, and it appears to us as tiny white dots on the skull. And a younger bird is going to have less of that second layer of skull grown in, and an older bird would have that full second layer grown in. So right now, Grayson is blowing on the bird, trying to peer through their feathers at the head to see how much of that second skull layer is grown in.
Right. and we're actually looking through the skin itself. So it's kind of like a little bald spot you can find. Okay, so this bird has a skull of 5,
Okay.
which in thrushes, their skulls, when they ossify, when they turn when it becomes a 6, so it's an adult, they can just remain at a level 5, which is almost but not fully ossified, for their entire lives. So we can't age them as adults based on that. So I would call this probably a 099.
Okay, so we're not going to fully age this bird at this time.
I guess you could look. I'm not confident enough with that. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to start taking measurements or other body things like fat, and I'll check for body mold or flight feather mold.
And so Grayson is blowing all over the bird to see in these certain areas. Fat on a bird shows up as a yellow color in a part of their body called the furcular hollow.
Which is just right underneath their neck, like right here. Let's say fat of 1.
Fat of 1, so that means that this bird has just a trace amount of fat. It's not storing a whole lot of fat on its body right now.
Okay, no body mold.
No body molds. This bird is not molting any body feathers.
Okay. Careful. Okay, no flight feather mold.
And they are not molting any of their flight feathers, which are like the outer wing feathers and their rectory tail feathers.
A lot of birds that are hatchier birds, meaning they are born this year, will molt their feathers before they migrate down here, and that is most likely what happened with this little guy. Because our population here actually is they breed in coastal British Columbia, and so this guy has come all the way down from British Columbia and is now wintering here.
Let's move with this bird. Let's move along with this bird.
Okay.
Where are they?
So do you want to check for where? So we also look at the wing tips more specifically to see like how nice the tips of the wings are, if they have like a lot of wear, or if there's like a lighter shade on the end.
Wear of 1.
Wear of 1. So their feathers are quite nice right now. There's not a lot of nicks on the ends of them. And then a wing and a weight.
Wing of 85.
Wing of 85. And then we put birds in cups to take their weight. It keeps them calm and is a safe way to get that measurement.
$22.8.
22.8. Okay.
Now I'm gonna go release this bird, and I'll be right back.
Okay. Cool. So we have all the data for that bird, and then Grayson is just going to release them, and they flew off great.
Someone had a question that they were wondering why do we ban birds?
Yeah.
Take this, or you want me to?
And would you repeat the question back to the panel?
So somebody asked, why do we ban birds? We ban birds because we want to look for things like survivorship, so how long do birds live long term, and we also monitor productivity, meaning how many birds are born each year and how many birds are able to migrate to and from places successfully. And here at Palo, we've been open since 1966, and so we have a very long-term data set that we can use to monitor the long-term changes in bird populations, and we also can relate those changes to things like climate change and restoration or weather, and how those factors might affect the population of those birds. Anything to add?
We can also understand who resident birds might be by looking at how many times they're recaptured in our nets.
You know, we've had some new people join on. Would you like to reintroduce who we are and what we're doing today, and tell them a little bit about the stuff in the intro?
Yeah, so for those of you just joining, we are here at Point Blue's Palomarin Field Station, located in Bolinas, California, which is at the southern tip of the Point Reyes National Seashore. My name's Anna.
I'm Grayson.
And we are both banding apprentices for the fall-winter season, and we are going over bird banding today and talking about fall migration. And we just processed one of our wintering birds called a hermit thrush.
Right.
Are
So-
we open right
We are currently open for appointments if you would like to come and watch a banding demonstration live in person. Yay, very exciting.
So about fall migration, since that's our special topic today, I just wanted to talk a little bit about migration and ask you guys, the viewers, have you seen any really cool fall migrants? Maybe like birds you don't usually see, or they only pop by for a little bit. And if you have, like, comment in leave a comment. We'd love to hear about it.
now? Reddick Bay Bird Observatory just entered. You should ask them what they've caught.
Ooh.
Who entered?
Reddick Bay Bird Observatory.
Reddick Bay.
Raddick Bay.
Oh, Braddock Bay Bird Observatory. We're curious as to what you guys are catching.
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment. So migration is when birds will move from one place to another. Let's say birds that, for example, the hermit thrush, that winters here. There is a certain time of year when the days get longer and something inside of bird, they're not exactly sure, like activates pretty much, and they are instinctually led to migrate to their breeding grounds. And so most of the time that is for resources and, you know, more food and shelter and protection to raise their young. So like I said, it has a lot to do with the timing of the day, and birds are actually so great at navigating that they, the same like hermit thrush that winters here can go all the way back up to British Columbia, breed the entire season, and then they can come right back down to this exact location and get caught in almost the same net that we caught them in the year before. And there's a lot of hypotheses about like how birds can do that. One is that they use the Earth's magnetic field, and that they have these little metals in their beak that can help lead them places. Or also some scientists think that they can see the magnetic field, and we don't know, we can't see it. But and then they also use things like landmarks. So that's actually how things like climate change or urbanization can affect migrating birds, because certain landmarks that were there one year or a stopover site that they used during migration might not be there the next year, and so that would really affect their migration.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like we have another bird coming in, so those of you who just joined can see another banding demonstration.
Yay.
Yay. And then maybe after we can go more in depth about the tools of the trade that we use here at Palo to band birds. Yay. Nat 5-5. Thank
Okay.
you.
Where did we get that bird from?
So at Palo we have mist nets set up around the area. Basically it's like a small fine mesh net that the birds get caught in, and we're trained to extract them. And then we always put the birds in the bag. It's a safe way for us to transport them back to the station, and it also keeps them calm.
Right. The safety of the bird is our number one priority.
So it's from Net 5-5.
You should ask people to guess who they think it's going to be.
Any guesses to who this bird might be?
It's kind of
Leave a
chunky.
comment.
He's a little chunky. He's kicking. Okay. Okay, ready?
Poor bird. Oh.
Yay! Another one of our famous winter birds and fall migrants.
Is this a new bird or a recaptured bird?
This is a new bird.
Great.
There's no band on this bird.
Okay.
So, this is a great way to see them.
Okay. So you're gonna have a size 1A for this bird. And we get a lot of these birds, and we confidently know that they take a size 1A, so we don't have to measure the leg. So
Who this bird is?
Yeah, this is a fox sparrow, one of our wintering birds, as Grayson was saying. You can tell them apart from the other sparrows because they are much larger overall. They have like a chunky yellow bill and a very dark wash and speckles on their breast.
And compared to things like the similar looking song sparrow or Lincoln or swamp sparrow, these guys have more of like a chevron reddish brown color, or their pattern is more chevroned and their coloring is more reddish brown.
Right. And do you want to give me the full band number for this bird?
Okay, it is 1991 93305.
05. Great, that is in sequence. And for those of you who are joining for this demo, each bird gets a specific number that will stay with them for the rest of their life. And all of our bands are made at the USGS lab, and they are made out of aluminum. It doesn't hurt the bird. They can barely feel it. It's like a little bracelet.
Yeah.
Do you ever put anything other than bands on birds?
Yeah, sometimes there's like these little backpack, like geolocator devices. It kind of just like acts as a backpack. Goes on the back of the bird. Got a good look at that. But here at Palo, we don't put these on the birds on a daily basis. It's mainly just the bands.
We've used those in the past actually to monitor our golden crown sparrow population as well as our hermit thrush population, which is how we know that they winter in British Columbia.
Great. And so this bird is banded, so now Grayson is going to take age and sex data on this bird. So she is peering through the feathers, looking at their skin to look for the skull, because younger birds will have less of their second layer of skull that grows in from the back of the bird's head forward, and an older bird would have that full second layer of skull, which appears as white dots. And that's what Grayson is looking at right now.
So this is a skull of 6.
So this bird, she said, has a skull of 6, which means that they're an older bird. They have fully grown in that second layer of skull. And so we can confidently say that,
3S9.
that they're a 3S9, an older bird.
Which 3S9 means an after hatch year bird that we aged based on skull.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take the other measurements.
And right now she's blowing on the bird to look for breeding conditions or fat, which appears as a yellow color and a part of their body called the furcular hollow, which is right under the neck.
Fat of 2?
Fat of 2, so this bird has a little bit of fat, but not much.
He just slapped me.
And now she's looking for any body feathers that are growing in and any flight feathers that are growing in.
No body molt.
So no body feathers are growing at the moment.
You're kicky. Let me just move you forward. Okay, it's okay.
Would you like to describe the way that we're holding the birds?
So right now, as we are processing these birds, we're holding them in bander's grip, which is a safe way to hold them. Basically, we have the bird's head between 2 of our fingers, and their wings are resting against our palm so that they can't flap around or hurt themselves, and it's the safest way to hold birds.
No flight feather molt.
There's no flight feather molt, so
Check the wear and fade.
wear and feed.
This guy does not like being on camera. Okay, wear of 2.
Wear of 2,
Fade
which
of 0.
means that there are like tiny little breaks on the outer part of their feathers. And no fade. And then you're just going to measure the wing chord of
And
that
then
bird.
take a weight.
Yep.
Okay. 78.
Wing is 78. And then we put birds in cups to weigh them.
It's a nice, safe, dark space for them. 31.3.
31.3. Okay, you are good to release that bird.
Can I show it to us just really quick now?
Say what?
Would you show the
Yeah. So grumpy. Oh no. Oof,
It's windy today.
Someone asked what your favorite fall bird was.
Ooh, our favorite fall bird. Yeah, so somebody asked us what our favorite fall bird has been. I have really been enjoying seeing our ruby-crowned kinglets come back. The males have like a bright red crown that they flash when they're angry, and they're very small and cute. What's your favorite fall bird?
My favorite fall bird. I would say it's a varied thrush. We haven't actually seen them yet, but they're absolutely gorgeous, and we can hear them. So they're very close.
Yes, we need to catch one soon.
It's our bird of the day, like almost all the time.
Someone also asked, what are birds up to in the fall?
In the fall. In the fall, there's a lot of birds that are new and they're juveniles, and so they're just, or they're immatures, and they're just trying to, store fat, and a lot of them will be practicing their songs. So if you ever like hear a song when you're outside, and it sounds kind of wonky, like it's probably like a younger bird that's practicing. A lot of them will establish wintering territories so that they have resources, so that they're prepared to migrate in the spring. And yeah, they're just pretty much getting ready for the next migration.
Yeah, good questions.
You want to talk about some of the banding tools that we have out?
Yeah, so now that we don't have a bird, we can go more in depth into some of these tools. We can show you, we have various sizes of bands that we use. These are smaller ones, and this is the 1A, the band that Grayson just put on a fox sparrow, and we go all the way up to size 5, which are much larger. And we also have these tiny little hummingbird bands that we shape ourselves.
We cut them from little aluminum sheets.
Yes. And then we also have banding pliers that are specific for the banding size. These are the main pliers we use, which are sizes 0A all the way up to 1A. And we open the band by putting them on this pin and then opening the pliers. That's how the band gets opened. And then when we band the bird, we place the band in these holes and then close it around their legs, like so. And we also have larger pliers for those larger bands.
Sometimes, especially during the fall, we'll catch sharp-shinned or Cooper's hawks, and usually they'll get a size 3 band, so it's like that's why we have the larger bands for them.
Oh, and of course the tiny little hummingbird bands.
The cute one.
Yeah, with very small holes. And then we also have our wing rulers out for taking wing chord measurements. We take tarsus measurements, which is basically the length of the bird's leg. It's called the tarsus. And so we have these caliper tools to measure that.
And we take those measurements because we're able to determine if that bird got enough nutrition while it was in the nest. And so that correlates with the length of the tarsus, which is why for our study species in particular, we take the tarsus measurements.
Someone asked us what the latest fall migrant to arrive at Palo, or what is our latest fall migrant to arrive at Palo? What's the newest fall migrant that we've caught?
The newest
The newest one, be the golden crown sparrow?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to repeat the question? Then
Yeah, somebody asked what our latest, or like the newest fall migrant that we have gotten was. And we think that's probably the golden crown sparrow. And they actually will breed all the way throughout the coastal Gulf of Alaska, and then they'll return back here to coastal California and some in the interior as well. So the golden crown sparrow came back, September? End of September?
Yeah, end of September, yeah.
Right. So most of the bird, or if not all of the birds that winter here are already back.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Someone asked, what are some of the bigger questions that we can answer with bird banding?
So bird
Could
banding.
you repeat the question too?
So what are some of the bigger questions that we can answer with bird banding? So what's really special about our data is it's very long term, so we're able to see these changes over time. And with that, we can see things like how do things like bigger storms because of climate change affect bird populations. So because we can see how it used to be like 50 years ago as compared to now, and we can compare those two changing trends and how they might continue, like warming temperatures on the earth and how that affects migration in general. We can answer also the type of, like when birds are migrating, they use a lot of stopover locations. And so by banding the birds and knowing where each population and individual goes, we're able to better determine where to put conservation efforts, as in like those stopover sites would be more critical in maintaining that species and their overall longevity than maybe just having no idea at all.
Mm-hmm. And we can also look at specific habitats that birds are around depending on where they're caught in the net, and maybe a male bird of a species is more likely to be caught in a certain habitat as opposed to a female bird. And all that data are really important things that you can only tell by having the bird in the hand sometimes, which is why it's important that we're doing this work as opposed to just like, you know, doing like regular point counts and such. It gives you like a more special story about what's going on with that individual bird.
We just got a few minutes left. I don't know if you guys want to get out any last minute facts or fun things.
There are 4 migration pathways throughout the North America, and just a quick little fun fact: we're on the Pacific Flyway.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
We could also mention that if you want to, or if you are interested in like learning more about bird banding, our position is available, and you can find that on pointblue.org/careers, I believe, if you're interested in being a Palomarin apprentice. It's a great experience. We have a fall, winter season and a spring, summer season if you want to learn more about birds and how to take data on them in the hand.
Yeah, and you get to hold birds.
You get to hold birds.
All right, I have one last question for you all.
Mm-hmm.
What's been your favorite bird that you caught this fall?
That's a good question.
The question was, what is our favorite bird that we have caught this fall so far? Oh, I know my answer. I held a northern flicker in my hand for the first time a couple days ago. It's a type of woodpecker, and they just have these beautiful orange wings, and the shaft of their feathers are so beautiful. So that was a very fun capture for me this fall.
I think my favorite one so far this fall has been a Cassin's vireo. I like bird. If you're a birder, you know what like a life list is, and so a life list is basically like a little collection of birds that you see throughout your life. And I really needed one for my life list, and because I had missed it for the last like year and a half every time it was around, and so we finally got one in the net. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, yes! It was amazing. They're so cute, and vireos are just really spunky anyway. And I really like them. They're always like chattering and very cute. I love them a lot. They got like white spectacles, and they just migrate through. So it was like really cool that we saw them.
Yeah.
People were giving a lot of love to that.
Yay.
Yay.
Should we wrap it up? You want to give the outro?
Sure. Yeah. Where is the... Well, it sounds like it's time to wrap up. So thank you everyone who tuned in to watch our banding demonstration and learn a little bit about fall migration. Again, we are open for banding demonstrations in person by appointment at the moment. If you'd like to come and see the birds that are around here.
Yeah. We hope you guys learned something new and exciting today. um, if you want to get involved or maybe want to consider donating, since we are a nonprofit, you can visit pointblue.org/donate.
Yeah, there's a donate button on the page. It would be much appreciated.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.